Okay, here's assignment 3 for Comp 2521, and this is Henry. So, first off, I'm just going to start with applicant class. So, basically the only thing I did here was create the constructor, or finish it rather, added the parameters, and made it so it automatically just calculates a score for whatever input it gets. So yeah, it just uses the formula we were given over here, and then it gives it a score. And only other things I did in this class would just add some get methods to retrieve some variables that I used later on in the loan class. So now moving on to loan. Okay, so here, okay, so run. So I started, I used scanner for command line input. And so it asks you to enter the budget, and then here it takes the input from application.txt, so another scanner, except this time file reading. It just prints out reading input, so it tells the user what's going on. And now this is a big while loop where it splits the input. This is how it processes the input, so based on tabs, and it puts it all into a string array called application details, and this is for each applicant, so only one line of the input. So index 0, it takes the name, then requested amount, years of education, etc. Here we go. Oh yeah, and because the maximum amount of annual profit estimation was 30 years, I made it cut off at 34. So if you put more input, it would just stop reading it. Okay, now, yeah, so that's how you get to input. It keeps looping, and before the end of the loop here, it will choose to either reject the applicant, just if it's less than 10 years of education and experience put together, or it'll add it to the active list. Well, not list, it's a max heap or priority queue. So push instead of add. Okay, then it asks you for input, yes or no. Do you want to execute the approval decision? And here it loops through the active list, and here if the budget is big enough to handle the requested amount for the loan, it will add it to the approved list and pop it from the heap. And if the budget is too small, I made a temporary list, so I added the loan that's too big to this temporary list, so I can add it back to active list later, so I don't lose that applicant. So that's how that works. It just iterates through the whole thing and approves or puts it back into active, not approved. And this here, this just puts the temporary back into active. That's how that works. Okay, and this is all just output. So basically I made strings for each file, and here I made a file called active.txt for output, and it just outputs the name, requested amount, and the score, just 3 things from the active applicants, and it puts it into the text file, and then it pops that from the list and goes on to the next one, because that is a priority queue. And then Once that is finished, it closes the file output for that and makes a new file called approved.txt. And same thing, except there's no score. So it just, and it's an array list. So get name and requested amount, puts that in the file. Same thing for rejected. And yeah, that's the whole program. I'm just going to run it now to show you what it looks like. All right. Just give a second for this poor little dual core laptop to finish here. Okay, here. So I'm just going to do exactly the same thing that was in the example. So 300,000, enter, yes, and finished. So now I can go over to the files. So we have, application, I just used what was given here. So active shows Larry and Miriam here. These are active because they didn't get approved. Larry's is over the limit, and this, or Miriam, was too far down in the queue, and by the time it got there, the budget was already too small, so it didn't get approved. Some gal and guy got approved, 120,000 each, and there's $60,000 left in the budget. And John Smith was rejected because his combined education and years of experience was too small. And yep, that is the whole program. Thanks for watching.